say I don't know Pat Whitty, but we're happy to have him here, I guess. And thanks for coming and thank you for presenting.
You're welcome.
By the way, I'm the finance director for the AVA. I don't know if you're with one of the clubs or a different organization, but.
No, I'm not. And I'll explain more about how I arrived here in just a minute.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. I'm going to turn my mic off then.
Okay. So I really am pleased to be asked to come in here and talk with you about a subject that, to tell you the truth, I had no interest in at all when I was in my 20s or 30s or 40s, maybe even into my 50s. That was aging, because I thought it would never happen to me. But now I've learned that it's a thing. Now I'm 82 years old, and I think I've kind of learned how to do it right, I hope. So I want to talk to you just a little bit about that subject of aging and what I've learned. Before I go any further, though, could I ask you to turn your video on? It's a lot easier to talk to people that you can see. Otherwise, it's just like oh, good, thank you. Thank you, thank you. There's all those smiling faces. You see all those faces?
I think we start to lose some bandwidth. And so if it gets a little digitized or your voice isn't clear, we may have to go off a bit, some of us, but
okay. Well, we'll see.
And I want to apologize, Pat. I'm sorry to be late. I just had so much trouble getting in. Here I am, supposed to help be your host for this evening, and I just got in.
Well, Carol, I'm supposed to introduce you. So Carol Giesecke, I'm introducing you. Thank you for hosting, and I'm glad you got in.
It's very okay. Great. Well, Pat, I'm really looking forward to what you have to tell us today.
Well, and my video keeps going off automatically. I don't know why that's happening. So that's a new one. So I'll keep turning it back on. Doesn't seem to be cooperating. So here's how I ended up here. I was at a meeting in San Antonio with the San Antonio Area Foundation about a month ago, and it was hosting the nonprofits that we support. And my role in that foundation is part of a group called SALSA. And SALSA stands for Successfully Aging and Living in San Antonio. And so what we do is we help older people live and age successfully. And that means to be able to find affordable housing, accessible housing, to deal with issues like aging in place, social connection, and all those things that affect our aging population. I was grateful to have found that opportunity, because for the last 6 years, I've been very interested in this subject of aging. I've had a lot of involvement with an organization called the Modern Elder Academy in Baja and now in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So I've had the great opportunity to spend weeks over the last 6 years with some of the greatest thought leaders in this area and authors. And it's helped me tremendously. And one of the things that I believe has helped me live this long, and frankly this well, is what you guys do. Because my conversation with Henry told me that you're into walking, right? And I am too. I've been walking most of my life. As a matter of fact, just about 10 months ago, I got a puppy, because I was starting to not walk as much as I used to. I found myself sometimes talking myself out of it. And so I thought, well, if I had a dog, then I would have this responsibility to take the dog for a walk, and the dog would help me walk. And so we got an Aussie Doodle, and now he's a 50-pound Aussie Doodle cross between an Australian Shepherd and a poodle. And he's just a wonderful dog. And so he takes me out for a walk every day. And so we help each other. So I think walking is a great way to stay energized. I don't know why I'm concerned about that, because I've got some slides I want to show. I'm going to try something. Bear with me for just a minute here.
I hope, Larry, you're back again.
There we are. So I want to talk to you about something called the anatomy of a transition. You know, transitions are things that you may be going through right now. I'm sure you've been through a transition or two in your life, and most of us will go through a transition at some point in the future. Transitions are part of life. But you know, they don't teach us that much about transitions in school. So when they come around, we're not prepared for them for the most part, especially that transition into what I call the second half of life, which happens around 40 or 50 for a lot of people. Because we've been conditioned to believe that life is an arc. In other words, we're born and we climb up the hill and we work hard, we get a good education, we get a career, we get married, we have a family, and we become successful. And we get to the top of the arc, usually around 40s or 50s, what we call midlife. And we believe at that point, the rest of it is downhill. A slow decline into old age. And for most people, the term old age strikes fear in their heart. They try desperately to avoid that which cannot be avoided. We have a saying at Salsa that says, aging is so cool that everybody is doing it. And we're all aging, but some of us age better than others. That's because we know how to do it. And I prefer to believe that life is not an arc. Life is more like a staircase. It's continuing to move forward. We continue to learn. We continue to grow and thrive and get better in maybe different ways. Certainly, we can't play the same game we've always played, but we play a different game. So I'm going to bring up my screen here. Y'all see that?
Yes, very clear.
You got it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So a transition, the best metaphor for a transition is the caterpillar to the butterfly. The caterpillar spends its entire life eating leaves. Not very exciting, but it keeps him alive. But by some miracle of nature, at one point in that caterpillar's life, it spins itself into a cocoon. And you know, it's a scientific fact that when that caterpillar is locked up inside that cocoon, it actually dissolves itself into this goo. And inside this goo, there's some things called imaginal cells that have all the information needed to transform that butterfly into a caterpillar. And so at one point, we know that the caterpillar will break out of the cocoon as a beautiful monarch butterfly and fly away. And that's a beautiful transition for aging, because if we know how to deal with these transitions, we can transform ourselves. We can let go of that person we used to be and become something new. Now, does anybody know who this is? Okay. Well, You may not be a fan of Ted Lasso then, but in the great TV hit series, Ted Lasso, this is Roy Kent. And Roy Kent is one of the stars on Ted Lasso. And Roy Kent was a superstar soccer player. All his life, that's all he had done is play soccer. And he was at that point in his life where he was revered. He was the superstar. This was his identity. He knew nothing else. He loved it. Some of us have been in a situation like that. We've maybe been the best in our industry or in our career. We've identified with that person we were when we were in that game. Well, Roy was getting old, as we all do, and he was losing his edge a little bit. He couldn't play quite the game he used to play, but he still kept on. What made it worse, there was a young guy on the team who was real cocky and arrogant and downright rude, who liked to make fun of Roy, call him grandpa and things like that. I'm guessing that some of you here have had derogatory names hurled at you by maybe even members of your family. Names like old or crotchety or grumpy or somebody, they call me an old geezer. So we've all had that happen to us. Well, it didn't sit very well with Roy. And so he was really struggling and denying the fact that he was getting old. And so one day, though, he fell on the field and he twisted his leg and he couldn't play anymore. He had to retire. So he got out of the game and he wandered around for a long, long time in this emotional state, in this funk. He was angry, he was miserable, he was didn't know what to do with himself, lost his identity. He no longer knew who he was. And this went on for quite some time, until one day he gave one of his fellow soccer players some advice about his game. And he watched this soccer player take his advice and go out and totally transform his performance in the game. And Roy realized the great satisfaction he got from helping this other young player improve his game. So he decided to be a coach. And he walks back onto the field during a big game. And when the audience saw him come back in, they all stood and they applauded, and that made him feel good. But he walked up to the coach, Ted Lasso, and Ted Lasso said, "Well, welcome back, coach." And Roy said, "Shut up. You had me at coach." And so that was Roy's transformation to a butterfly. See, now he knew he couldn't play the same game, but he was playing a different game. He was bringing his gifts and his talents into a new game. That's a great explanation of what a transition looks like. If you break a transition apart, it has three steps. It begins at the end. All transitions begin at the end. And then it moves into what we call the messy middle, and then to new beginnings. So if we look at this little graphic here, you'll see here at the front end, a transition begins with what we'll call either an external kick or an internal shift. In Roy's case, it was an external kick. It wasn't his choice. Some of you on this call, if we had the time to share our stories with each other, some of you on this call have had those external kicks. Maybe you got fired from a job. Maybe you got a divorce. Something happened in your life that kicked you out of who you used to be. Or there's also something we call an internal shift. And once again, many of you on this call, if you could tell your stories, have made decisions on your own to leave your game and go into a new game. You weren't forced out of it. You just decided you were going to do something different. So that happens to all of us. So what happened with Roy is he immediately went into denial, like we all do. This is not happening to me. I can work this out. So we stay sometimes far longer than we should stay, and we are immersed in this emotional bath. That's what was happening to Roy. He was just walking around consumed by his anger and his anxiety about he was no longer the person he used to be, but he did not know who he was becoming. And so what happens then, we go into the messy middle. And the first thing in the messy middle is what we call incompetence. When we're incompetence, that means we're all good at something. And that something is what got us where we are now. And we hang on to that far too long. We're unwilling to give it up and learn something new, to learn a new skill, to mine our own wisdom and our own talents. That's what we call being incompetent. We're stuck there. And then the next step is we're in the soup. Now, that's the metaphor of being in the cocoon. We're literally digesting ourselves. We're just eating ourselves up. We're turning into our own gooey state. I'll bet most of you on this call have been there at one time in your life. I know I have. I didn't know who the heck I was anymore. You know, what's happened to me? Who is this person in the mirror looking back at me? No, I'm not. I can't be getting old. Why is my hair turning white? I don't know why this is going on. I did not want this to happen, but it's happening. And then we find a thread. If we're fortunate, somewhere in this stage, we'll find that thread of that person that we're about to become. So in my case, you know, I owned my own business. It was a good business. I thought I was going to be in that business for my entire life, but it didn't work out that way. So I spent a long time in the soup before I found the thread, before I was able to let go of that person I used to be and see, well, you know, I have some skills and talents and abilities that I could use in the service of other people. I don't have to surrender to old age. Yeah, it's difficult for me to get a job. I've been on the job market in my 70s. It's no fun. Let me tell you, it is no fun. But, you know, when we don't have the circumstances that we want in our life, we just have to create the circumstances that we created ourselves. So I was put on to AmeriCorps by a friend of mine at the San Antonio Area Foundation. And in a conversation one day, she told me, so, you know, we're trying to fill a position here by February the 11th, and we're having a hard time finding. And I said, well, tell me a little bit about it. She told me about it, about AmeriCorps VISTA, VISTA, which stands for Volunteer in Service to America. So I said, you know, I might be interested in that. So she gave me the link, and I went on there and I applied for it. Well, when I was filling out the application, I got to the spot on the application where it asked for my age. And I said, well, this is going to be a deal breaker because they're not going to hire anybody who's 82 years old. But I went ahead and did it anyway. And surprise, surprise, I got the job. So now I'm serving as a volunteer, paid volunteer, by the way. That the word volunteer can be misleading. And I'm in a wonderful organization with wonderful people who can acknowledge and respect my experience, and a term they use all the time, which pleases me greatly. I didn't ask them to use this. They talk about my wisdom, because you see, they recognize that one of the blessings of age is while we lose a lot of things as we get older, one of the things we gain is wisdom. We have the ability to connect dots, to see patterns. We can be great coaches and mentors to people. And so now I have the ability to work in the organization and have people listen to me, ask me for advice, because I've been down that road before that they're all going down. And fortunately, they don't just judge me because I'm X years old. So this is a new me. This is the next step, the new beginnings of becoming a different person in my life, starting to take flight, and then finding flow. And finding flow is when we're back in that state where we're comfortably using our gifts and talents. I don't have to prove myself to people anymore. I am who I am. I used to go on LinkedIn all the time, and I'd get very upset when I went onto LinkedIn. And I'd look at all these pretty young people talking about their high-paying jobs. Oh, I got this promotion today. They're talking all this fancy corporate talk, return on investment, leveraging this and leveraging that. And, I said, I used to be in that world and I'm feeling left out. And I wanted to go back to it. It took me way too long to realize the fallacy of that. And now I look back on it and say, I want no part of that. I'm living the best part of my life right now because I've been able to age well and to accept all of the downsides of my age, 82, but also the upsides of it. And that's really a wonderful thing. So, life it's not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's learning to dance in the rain. And I think that's such a beautiful quote. First time I read that, it reminded me of time a couple of years ago when we had our granddaughter, Parker, spending the weekend with us. She was about 9 or 10 years old at the time. It was raining outside. So Parker came up to me and says, Papa, let's go dance in the rain. I said, no way, Parker. We're not going to go out in the rain. We're going to get soaking wet. You'll get cold. Oh, please, Papa, please, please. No, we're not going to do that. So I tried to compromise. Let's go out in the garage. We'll pull up a couple of chairs in the garage, open the door, and we'll watch the rain. So she goes out to the garage. She sits in the chair with me, but then she gets up and she goes over to the door and she holds her hand out under the water that's coming off the roof. And she said, I love the rain. She said, look at how it lands on the concrete driveway. It looks like little diamonds. And I watched her be so enchanted with the rain, and I felt so stupid because I was a grumpy old man who refused to get wet. So I said, trying to extract myself from this embarrassment, I said, I'll tell you what, Parker, next time it rains, I'll go out and dance in the rain with you. So it was about 3 months later, she was spending the weekend with us again. It rained. Parker said, hey, Papa, you remember you promised me that you would dance in the rain with me? I said, yeah, Parker, I did, didn't I? Let's go. We went out and we danced in the rain together. An 80-year-old man and a 9-year-old girl were dancing in the rain, chasing each other around, playing tag, getting soaking wet. And it was one of the most joyful moments of my life. And I believe that Parker will probably be remembering that when she becomes 80 years old too. But it was really great. So Let's all dance in the rain. So I want to just wrap up with a question that might be just something to think about. Who were you before the world told you who you were supposed to be? Who were you before the world told you you were supposed to be? So many of us go through our entire life really in somebody else's mind. I talked to so many people who have pursued their careers based on what their parents wanted. They pursued their careers because they thought this is what I'm supposed to do. But deep down inside, none of that was really what they wanted. But they didn't have the safe environment. They didn't have the rapport with anybody to be able to talk about what it is they really want to do because they thought it was stupid. And sometimes they were told that was stupid. And that's unfortunate. Oh, you'll never make a living doing that. So as we go through these transitions into what I call the second half of life, and we're trying to find a new purpose, a new reason to get up out of bed in the morning, this might be one helpful question. Who was I before the world told me I was supposed to be? Because I'm free now. I'm free to pursue that. And that can open up a whole new world for us. So thank you very much. Henry had, I'm going to put something here in the chat. Henry and I talked briefly about AmeriCorps. He wanted to find out more about AmeriCorps. And I think that Henry thought that AmeriCorps was an easy way to get volunteers. AmeriCorps was a place that had an inventory of volunteers waiting to jump in and help people. And like all nonprofits, Henry said, well, we need volunteers. It's not that easy. You have to apply for AmeriCorps and be approved as a sponsor and then have your position posted like mine was. I'm going to put in the chat a link to that place where it explains the process, and you can see the requirements and determine for yourself whether that's a little bit too much. I can also tell you that when you apply for AmeriCorps, you really need to justify the purpose of your organization has to connect to fighting poverty in some way. And so that's one of the things they'll look at before they give you a volunteer. So you have to understand that AmeriCorps is .gov. It's a government organization, government funded, and they pay volunteers like me. I don't know why they call me a volunteer, but that's what they do. But we're paid. It's not a lot. It's a living allowance, but it's sure better than nothing. But so if they're going to lay out a great expense, they want to make sure that that volunteer is aligned with the mission and purpose of AmeriCorps. But they do a really good job, and it's a great organization. So I told Henry that I would take the first 30 minutes and then turn it back to you guys for your 30 minutes. Does anybody have any questions or comments before we wrap things up here, or before I wrap things up?
Well, thank you so much, Pat, for sharing that. I think that, if anybody does have a question or comment, you could put your hand up. That would be the best way. That way, if there's more than one person, we can make sure that everybody gets a chance to ask you a couple questions. I would just like to ask you a little bit more about salsa. Is that your job with AmeriCorps, is to get that salsa going, or how does salsa figure into your life now?
Well, SALSA is an organization within the San Antonio Area Foundation. The San Antonio Area Foundation is a huge philanthropic organization, and they support nonprofits. SALSA is like a department within that organization. And what SALSA did was to apply for an AmeriCorps sponsorship, and they were granted that. And then they posted a request for a volunteer because it's good for them. Because first of all, SALSA doesn't have to pay me; AmeriCorps pays me. And so that's when I applied for that. So people, can go in there and see these postings that these different nonprofits are looking for. And I was just at a 3-day conference in Chicago with AmeriCorps and met a lot of people. And most of them, well, not most of them, all of them were younger than me. I think I was the oldest one there. But many of them have relocated. They wanted to go live somewhere else. And so my role at SALSA is to work on specific projects. Now, they've got a little bit of a different deal with me because a lot of the SALSA volunteers are younger people who do not have a lot of experience. So those people are working on these projects with nonprofits, and they're gaining a lot of experience for their future career resumes. That's not my case. SALSA is really benefiting from me because I bring a tremendous amount of business experience. I own my own business for over 20 years. And I taught Dale Carnegie classes for 20 plus years, teaching people public speaking and communications and human relations skills, all of those things that are important to nonprofits. But now then, because I'm there, they have the ability to expand what they can do. So one of the projects I'm working on now is creating a video to sell the idea of volunteering and to interview people about volunteering. And so they probably wouldn't be able to have the time to do that if I weren't there to do it, because they'd be too busy doing other stuff. So.
Okay, thank you. And would you remind me what SALSA stands for? Seniors?
It's probably one of the best acronyms ever made, especially for San Antonio, Texas, because we love salsa here. It stands for Successfully Aging and Living in San Antonio. So that's what we do.
Yeah, I can see why Henry would get excited about that, because part of, as you were saying, successful aging is walking and doing other physical activities outside. So that is really a good sounds like a great job for you.
Well, it is. In my research on this, I've read some work by Dr. Phil Pizzo of Stanford University. And he says that as we age, we only need 3 things. First of all, we need purpose. We need a reason to get out of bed in the morning. I run across so many old people who do not have purpose. When they passed over to this new phase of their life, they gave up their job, their career, or maybe they lost a spouse or whatever, and they have no purpose anymore. So he really talks about, to age well, we need a purpose. And the purpose doesn't have to be some life-changing thing like a Martin Luther King, but it needs to be doing something with your skills and talents and gifts in the service of other people. And the second thing we need is well-being, both our physical well-being, which you guys are really dealing with, and our mental well-being. And then the third thing, which again connects to what you do, is we need community. We need each other. And I run across way too many people who are isolating themselves. You know, the Surgeon General, as you probably know, declared loneliness is an epidemic in our country. And most of that loneliness resides with older people because they become isolated by the culture. Ageism is rampant in our culture. They become isolated in some cases by their own families. And so we need community.
Thank you very much, Pat. I'm so glad we had a chance to listen to you. It looks like we don't have any other questions or any questions from our group, so perhaps we should move on to the second half of our program. But I really appreciate you giving us that. It's kind of like a pep talk in a way, and it really, I don't know, it makes me feel really good. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
So now, Aaron, do you or Hector, do either of you have our second person in line here?
Well, I mean, I was asked to go over the website with y'all, so that's what I'll do. Hold on, let me. I'm not big on talking, so I wrote up a little something to help me get along through this. So, yeah, so hello everyone. For those who don't know me, hello. I mean, for those who know me, hello again. If you don't know me, my name is Hector. I'm the IT specialist here at the AVA National Office. I also do graphic designs and make the stamps for all the clubs that y'all use at the events. So if you have any questions, those types of things, y'all just let me know. For this portion of the webinar, we'll be going over the AVA website. This, should be the landing page for all new walkers, anybody interested in our organization. So let me go ahead and share that with y'all. Share screen. All right. Okay, can y'all see that?
No,
Yep, there
there
we
you
go.
go. There you go.
All right. Okay, so I'll just start with, okay, so this is the website. As you can see, you scroll down, it has a little bit about us, our branding video. Always, when something's going on, like our webinars, our board meetings and everything, you'll always find that information right at the top, usually the week of, if not a week before. These things also go on the checkpoint. So if you, would like to receive a checkpoint, you can also email me for that, or you can actually request it through your my.ava account if you have one. We also post up, upcoming events, national walks that we have coming up. So you can see the Crazy Horse, the Freedom Walk Festival, the convention. Any other clubs, if y'all have something that y'all might want to put here or on my.ava, y'all can send those things to me so we can get those up. Some ways, this is ways of supporting and promoting, walks, especially for those people who, who are trying to find out about walks. This is where they'll see it. And then of course, we have right now we have the promotion of the TAW, letting everybody know that, it's now that it's digital. I guess, well, one thing I wanted to say about the TAW, so let's just click on it. So this is how it looks, the digital portion. And I know some people had problems with, the zooming in. Let's go to a page that has words. It's just slow right now. Come on.
Is it slow because we all have our cameras on?
Could be. So just one thing I wanted to point out, so like, okay, so once you click on this little button to zoom right here, and then right here, this pops up so you can zoom in some more. So this, for those who, have problems reading or seeing it, was acting slow, but yeah, so you should be able to, with the little hand, just move across it. but at the moment it's not doing it because it's very slow. Yeah. Come on. All right. Well, I just wanted to point that out, so for people that, are trying to utilize this portion of the tile using the online version, that you can zoom in by pressing this plus and minus here. So I just want to show that. And I mean, also, I mean, we do also offer the PDF version. If you don't like the magazine layout, you can also use the PDF version. And then, for anybody wanting to sign up, if if you're getting a new member or know someone who's asking about it, you can send them to come here and they can click here to sign up. Just scrolling down the pages, the pictures on the trail. If y'all ever have pictures y'all want to post, just send them to me and we can get them on the website or, Facebook or something. And, this just tells a little bit about, contributing donations, signing up, become a member, finding walks, or clubs in your area. And then down here, our sponsors, for, the support. And then, the bottom of the footer. What else? Okay, so,
So Hector, one thing was that people were asking me about was how they find out the data that we usually like to see about, how many walks has a person done lately and that sort of thing. That I really found that valuable. If you could just share that.
the data for the walks.
Like that we always used to put in the TAW that would say, this many people have done 600 walks this
Oh,
this
okay.
week and stuff like that.
Okay, so that's in the TAW. So let's see if we can get to that page without it. Yeah, so well, let's try the PDF. Maybe that one might work a little better. So come on. Yeah, so you scroll down on this one, we have it on page 19. So that would be here. These icons. So, on the top, if you see these little fingers, that means, click here. So right here, you have the IVV event award. So if you click on it, it brings up the data, telling you all the awards, the 10 events all the way down.
Great.
We have up to, oh my, 7,200 events. So yeah, so that's where you'll find that one. And then right next to it, I believe is the distance. No, wait, 19. Oh. Yeah, here's the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And so it shows everybody's same thing, everybody's names going down, listing everything. One thing I want to point out, we also started listing club anniversaries and well, yeah, the club anniversary. I think what else we have there is the upcoming events as well. Come on. Yeah, so the other one, we have the upcoming events, and this is a new one, like just to support clubs, letting everybody know the anniversaries that have passed. And then we'll have some more in the next one.
That's really nice. That's great to have that. I just think it's so colorful too. You've made it, getting it out of newsprint. It really makes it kind of pop.
Yeah, I try to keep a little bit kind of the same, and then just bring it out the colors to make it, you know, vibrant. But yeah, that's so yeah, so right now I on this one, like I said, it's on page 19. But you know, for future reference, just look for these icons, and this is where you'll find those like things that were in the old. Come on, page 19.
Right.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Is it always gonna be in about in the same place then?
No, I mean, I could try to keep it like that. I just, if anything, probably try to keep it, because you know the RD stuff is like in the middle, so like you know behind that. So you know, just depending on you know where, you know how much information comes before that, you know, it may move from page to page. Um,
Sure. Yeah, sure.
so you know, so I don't want to say, oh, it's always on page 19, but so no, it's just you know,
Right.
it's more just looking out for these icons, and this is where you'll find that information. So I mean, it's still there. It's just not in the same capacity. It's
That's
just,
right.
you
We just
know,
have to
but
get used to a different way of
mhm,
looking at it for it.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's still there, and it's. I mean, if you want it, I mean, it can be printed out, or if we're mailing it to you, you can ask for it, and we can send it with it. You know, it's not. It's just. It wasn't. You know, to take it away. It was just more to try to condense it to where it's.
Mm.
You know, when it's in its flip book form, you know, have some. You know, so it's not so big. You know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't take up so much space. You click on it and
Hmm.
it comes up.
Hmm.
It is, and it's still the same way of submitting articles is still the same as it always was, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. You just send them to Todd AVA, and those will go to the publicity committee, and then they'll get them to me, and then I'll format everything.
Hector, can people still buy ads on this?
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
thought so.
that I think it's on this page right here. So you just send the we have our guidelines here. So you click here to go to your guidelines, and you know if you want to purchase anything, you send it to Henry. So yeah, yeah. There's
That's
still you know space for that as well.
that's great. And the deadlines, can see that.
Hmm.
So, there are going to be 4 a year, just like the other one, right?
Yes, ma'am. Right now I'm working on the June one, so it should be coming out either by mid-June or late June.
Mm-hmm. Does
Okay.
anybody else have some questions for Hector?
Nope.
Okay.
Very good.
All right. And so, okay, so yeah, that's the tall. And then so now going back to the website, so I mean if you go to the drop downs, you'll see, you know, there's different drop downs here. So, you know, on the about us, it tells us, you know, gives us a little bit about what did I have written? Okay, so in the about you'll see here you have our mission statement, our vision statement, value statement. So these are the core models, you know, that we should be following as an organization, and what we should emphasize as far, you know, who we are, what we do. And then you'll see a little bit about, you know, woke sporting. You know, this is like a little spiel like you can give to people, or, you know, if somebody asks a question, you know, oh, what are y'all doing? You know, what's woke sporting? You know, tell them a little bit about, you know, where it came from, what it's about, or you can just send them here, go to ava.org, you know, go to the about us, you can see a little more. And then, you know, just going down again, you know, our brand video, a little bit about health and our national office hours. And again, you can find events and clubs here. Okay. And then for AVA leadership, you know, just straightforward about, um, you know, the board, you know, the officers and their emails, and the regional directors. And in case, you know, you need their emails trying to get to someone, you see everybody's faces. And also you see the national office, you know, a little bit of our responsibilities of what, you know, areas we work in. So, what's that one? Let's see. Okay, on the programs, you'll see international programs, which, you know, international programs are like you know, the IMLs. So you'll see, you know, the Texas Trail Roundup is an IML. The Olympiad was kind of with an IML. It's IVV, but IML event as well. And then the Freedom Festival Walk. I mean, the Freedom Walk Festival. Sorry, but yeah. So there's you know, there's links to those here. Under national programs, you'll see the AVA program, Centurion, National Walking Week. The VOP is no longer we don't have the VOP at the moment, but you know, it should come back. And then you'll see the opt-out side, and as well as conventions. You'll see that here's our history. The convention history with all the older ones, and then I have the latest convention, the page already made. You know, so once we start registration, everything that'll all go here. Just, you know, here's just a little bit of information, just, you know, if anybody asks you about, you know, where's the next convention or where, you know, you can send them here. And then under the members, we have, you know, personal login. That's for, you know, your my.ava.org account. I could just click on this so you can see. That'll lead you here.
Ah, that's great.
And then, you know, here's our AVA membership. If, you know, anybody who wants to join as an AVA member. And here's the form. You just click here for the form. And then you can fill that out. And so like I said, here's another, see, me and Mike get these posted on here. So if you need, you know, you want to advertise anything here, you just let me know so I can help you get the image made, and then we can send it to Mike. And then we'll go to the next one real quick because this one has a lot of information. So, you know, here's what your walking trails, you know, your trail ratings explained, gives you a little bit of, you know, your incline, your trail surfaces and everything. Okay, and under find the walk, I added this one today, you know, so we can find the walk by names, by state, by map, by club. I know Henry liked the by map better. So, you know, you can click on it, you know, so you can just scroll in and see where it is you want to go, and it gives you the information. Come on. So yeah. Oh, there it goes. So yeah, so you can see that it gives you all the information, and you can view the events here. So yeah, and then same thing, you know, if you want to go by state, just click find by state,
Mm-hmm.
and you can find the states there. And then, okay, well, under donate, of course, you know, you have your donate. If you know, one-time donor, you can donate through here. ABA Angels is planned giving, sustained giving. You want to, that's like a monthly one. So if you want to do a monthly giving, you can give through there. You know, so this is here for anyone, you know, who feels like supporting in that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, so we go back to clubs only. You'll see, you know, here's our club resources. So here's where there's a lot of information. And so there's also board resources, group works, and then again, your ava.org account. So for the board, you know, there's, you know, the board handbook, their expense reports, and concern, you know, all these things that they use. So you know, this is where they would find those. And then so under club ordinance, we have, you know, your club forms, where you can find all your forms, like you know, World Walking Day, like athletic forms. You can find also your club support forms. So, you know, if you're a club and you're in need of some type of support, there's a form here for that you can submit to ABA for any help, and you know, just let us know what capacity, and we can see, you know, if we're able to meet that and help you in that any way that you need. So that's there as well. You know, so here's like all your basic forms.
Mm-hmm.
See, and then we also have all your club policies. So under your club policies, you can, you know, find your price policy, bylaws, trail master guides. And this one here, the AVA policy manual. So, you know, you ever have any questions about the types of events you're doing, you know, on the bottom, I think it has fees. So yeah, club fee structures and everything. So, you know, fees, and then, you know, different types of events. If you ever, you know, what's that event? You know, I want to do that event, and you need to know a little bit about it. You know, here you can find it here. about membership and governing documents. So yeah, so that's there under club policies. Okay. So,
That's really great, Hector. I think you've given us an incredible overview. I think all of us could spend a little more time visiting the website and seeing all the amazing help that we can get. If
mhm.
sometimes I just end up asking you a question, but probably mostly the answers are there if I would take the time to look through the website.
Yeah, yeah, like a lot of these club things, like the club forms and stuff. I mean, they're here for now. We do want to try to kind of move some more over to the my.ava where you're doing your club like as business, you would want to say, like you're doing like your events and everything. Want to move some of that stuff over so it's there under your club. So this is more like of a like I said, more of a traffic for people who are coming in and wanting to know about AVA. So this would we can move some of this stuff over. But for now, this is where it's at and where you can find it. So just like this, like here's for your graphics and your logos for all your different what is it, brochures and everything that you need. Has our logo, so you can download them all from here.
Mm-hmm.
The IVV, I think I still need to add the IML. You have your other little people, and then here you also have your
Little
business
people.
card. You can download. This is a template, a Word template, so you can
Mhm.
make if you want to print your own business cards for you. Let's see,
Mm.
Steve Sanders, you have your hand up.
Yeah, Hector, this is a good overview. At some point, things like the forms and policies and whatever, would they maybe move under my.ava.org to like a documents area or something?
Yeah.
Is
So
that
that
the
would be
direction?
if they or if and when they move over to my.ava.org, that would be like under your club, like in the so you would like sign in to your personal account and go to your club account, and that's where you'll find the documents. You want to move it more to like the club portion, because their club forms are so that's where those would be. But yeah, so that's
Yeah. Yeah,
mhm,
that way we don't have quite so much stuff on the public website, but
yeah, so
it's
it's
for
not
people
so
that need
much.
it, it'll be under the other one. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Thanks.
Mhm. So here you have your brand guidelines. Let's see, does it open? Yeah. So the brand guidelines just kind of goes over, what the logo is and how to use it. So it's using the color, the black and white, and how not to use it. So these are the colors. If you're ever thinking, oh, what kind of color is that, or what color is that? Here's the RGB and the hex and the CMYK numbers for it, and the type of font that's used for it. And like I said, here's the ways not to use it. So don't squish it or rearrange the colors of it. And I think one thing they didn't put on here, don't chop it up into pieces. Just use it as is.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, so there's that. So there's different things here. Like I said, you just want to poke around and look at it.
Mm-hmm.
More than welcome to. Let's see. So yeah, so here you'll see the monthly webinars. So I've been kind of updated a little bit, so you can put them all up here. So you missed one, you can just come up and click it here and watch it. You can click and then make it bigger by clicking right here. It'll take up the whole screen. Unless you want to just go straight to YouTube, you can click there, go straight to YouTube.
That's great.
Let's see what else. So yeah, so we also have the new publicity toolkit. Uh, I don't know, Dolores, were you gonna say something about this?
Yeah, they asked me to. It's I hadn't looked at it in a while, and but it is a good tool. We haven't needed it for the Freedom Walk. We have our own brochure and stuff, but it's great when they're starting out to give it a template, and especially if you're not savvy with it. But we are updating this summer, the publicity committee. So I'll be revamped and we'll probably have a few extras, additives to it. But what they wanted me also to talk a little bit about publicity, a little more than this, but I don't know what, we're already over time, I'm guessing. So I guess another time, another place.
Yeah, that's too bad, Dolores. It would have been nice to hear that too, but like you say, I'm hoping that because we have these every month, maybe there will be time, but it is getting late in the east especially, but everybody, it's probably a little bit late. But I appreciate you taking the time and I really want to hear from you, Dolores, maybe in a subsequent webinar.
Okay, sounds good. No worries.
Yeah.
Well, then with that being said, I'm just gonna say a couple more things and then we can just stop it already.
Okay. Great.
So just a little bit right here, this is just scrolling through. These are the different type of flyers. So right here at the bottom, you'll see flyer event flyer 5. So you can click here to download it. And these are all Word documents. So, if you're using a different type of program, just let me know. Like, cause I know somebody else was using a certain type of program and they downloaded it and it just came out squished and not correct. So I had to save it as another type of file to send it to them. So if it doesn't look like what's, the image that's showing, just let me know and I can help you with that. And then, right here we have the legacy brochures. So these are the, the older brochures, the Come Walk With Us. And these, if, there's available for download. So if you can, you need to print them out, you can just go ahead and print them out. But if you need us to print them and send them to you, we can always do that as well. So, just let us know. And again, some of them are outdated, but I mean, they're still here available for use. Information is up to date, just, maybe the pictures are not. We also have, I don't know if you've seen the checkpoint, we have 2 new postcard type, to leave behinds, I guess you call them. One is, for just the regular AVA one. And then another one is the save the date for the convention. So, I mean, if anybody's interested, any club that's interested in those can just email me or Marion and we can send you some so you can have them for your events, as a way of public, marketing, publicity or whatever. But yeah, that's, I guess, kind of ran through it, but I don't know. There it is. I don't know if anybody has any questions, you can just let me know now, or you can just email me and I can, help you out.
Yeah, it seems like you've given us a really comprehensive overview, Hector. And if anybody does have questions, we will email you.
Oh, one more thing I like that. I'm sorry. We did for a lot well, most clubs when we did do the feather banners, they requested it. So I mean, I think there's still some clubs out there that didn't get a feather banner, and Henry asked me to let y'all know that if your club didn't get a feather banner and they're still wanting one, that we can still get you one. I know there's like I mean, we've gotten 2 new clubs, so we asked them to send us their logo, and I know there's like 2 or 3 other ones that reached out to me that they hadn't gotten them. So as I'm, going through getting that order ready, it's something, if you haven't gotten it, just let me know. And yeah, that's it.
The banners are great. Just so
Yeah.
everyone knows, we put one at every one of our checkpoints to get the public involved.
Yeah, in the future, we're hoping to maybe try to do like a little pop-up one banners, for everyone, but we'll see.
Well, thanks very much. I think that will, kind of concludes our webinar for tonight. And I was really happy to be able to be part of it.
Well, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
And see you next month.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Enjoy your
everyone. Have a
evening.
good one.
Bye.